You wake up determined. Today will be different. You skip breakfast. You avoid sugar. You even force yourself to take that morning walk everyone keeps recommending. And yet, by afternoon, the cravings hit like a wave you never saw coming. Your energy crashes. Your mind starts negotiating. Just one snack. Just one bite. By evening, you're convinced you failed again. But what if you didn't? What if the real problem started long before you ever reached for that food? Most people never realize this. The battle wasn't happening in your kitchen. It was happening inside billions of tiny cells, where a silent biological mistake had already changed the rules of the game. And here's the part nobody talks about. The healthier you tried to eat without fixing that hidden problem, the harder your own body could fight back. I know, that sounds backwards. Stay with me, because this changes everything. For years, you've probably heard the same advice. Eat less. Move more. Show more discipline. If your blood sugar stays high, it's because you're making bad choices. That story feels personal. It feels heavy. And after hearing it enough times, you start believing your body is broken. It isn't. Your body has been responding exactly as it was designed to. That's the painful truth. Insulin resistance isn't your body refusing to cooperate. It's your body's emergency protection system staying switched on for too long. Imagine your home. Every time someone rings the doorbell, you answer. But imagine hundreds of people start ringing it every hour. Eventually, you stop opening the door. Not because you're lazy, because you're overwhelmed. Your cells behave the same way. Insulin is the messenger knocking on the cellular door, asking glucose to come inside and become energy. At first, everything works beautifully, but when insulin keeps knocking, meal after meal, snack after snack, year after year, the cells slowly stop responding. Not out of rebellion, out of survival. Here's the critical thing to understand. This isn't a failure of willpower. It's biology adapting to constant pressure. That's why many people feel exhausted after eating instead of energized. That's why hunger returns faster than it should. That's why stubborn belly fat often refuses to disappear even when calories go down. Your cells are hearing insulin. They're just choosing not to listen anymore. And that's where everything changes. Researchers at Harvard and scientists around the world have spent decades uncovering what happens next. They discovered that one of the body's most remarkable energy sensors begins changing its behavior when this resistance develops. That sensor is called AMPK. Think of AMPK as the factory manager inside every cell. When energy is running low, AMPK walks through the factory, turning off unnecessary machines, repairing broken equipment, and making sure every resource is used wisely. It's incredibly efficient, almost brilliant. But here's where it gets counterintuitive. If insulin resistance keeps growing, the factory manager starts receiving confusing signals. Repairs slow down. Fuel isn't handled efficiently. More insulin gets released to force the doors open. For a while, it looks like the system is coping. Then something unexpected happens. The extra insulin doesn't solve the problem. It quietly feeds it. And hidden behind that cycle is another molecular switch, one that can either lock your body into insulin resistance or begin pulling it back toward sensitivity naturally. What happened next surprised researchers because this second pathway explains why two people can eat similar foods, exercise similar amounts, and still have completely different metabolic futures. And once you understand what controls that switch, you'll never look at your meals or your morning routine the same way again. The extra insulin doesn't solve the problem. It quietly keeps knocking harder. At first, that sounds helpful. It isn't, because every loud knock teaches the cells to ignore the next one. Here's the part nobody talks about. The real villain isn't glucose alone. It's chronically elevated insulin. Insulin is an essential hormone. You couldn't live without it. But when it stays high for months or years, it changes the entire metabolic environment. Think of it like a city, where every traffic light is stuck on green. At first, cars move faster. Then intersections become chaotic. Eventually, nothing flows. Your cells experience the same kind of gridlock. This is where another pathway enters the story. mTOR. Scientists, including researchers at the Salk Institute, have spent years studying how mTOR responds to nutrients and insulin. Under normal conditions, mTOR tells your cells, build, grow, store energy. That's exactly what it's supposed to do. But here's what changes everything. If insulin keeps activating mTOR without enough periods of rest, your cells spend more time storing than repairing. It's like running a construction crew 24 hours a day without ever stopping to clean the tools. Eventually, the machinery wears down. The surprising part is that your body isn't trying to hurt you. It's trying to survive what it believes is an endless flood of energy. That explains why simply eating less often fails. Your biology is protecting its current state. Not because you lack discipline, because your body thinks it's keeping you alive. Now the good news, the same biology that created insulin resistance can begin reversing it. One signal at a time. Start with your morning. After waking, wait about 12 to 14 hours from your previous evening's meal before eating breakfast. If it fits your health needs, and your healthcare professional hasn't advised otherwise, during that time, drink water, black coffee, or unsweetened tea. Why? Because lower insulin gives AMPK a chance to become more active, allowing your cells to shift from constant storage toward maintenance. When you break your fast, don't begin with refined carbohydrates. Choose protein first. Eggs with spinach, plain Greek yogurt with nuts, tofu with vegetables. Protein slows digestion, steadies blood sugar, and reduces the insulin surge that can restart the cycle. Here's where it gets counterintuitive. Move after you eat. Not an intense workout, just a brisk 20 to 30-minute walk. Why? Because contracting muscles can absorb glucose more effectively, reducing the amount of insulin your body needs to release. You're helping your cells do their job instead of forcing insulin to work harder. By midday, build your plate differently. Half should be non-starchy vegetables. Add lean protein like fish, lentils, chicken, or beans. Include healthy fats from olive oil, avocado, or nuts. Finish with high-fiber carbohydrates if you choose them. Fiber slows glucose absorption, giving insulin time to work without overwhelming your cells. And here's the thing nobody tells you. Sleep may be just as important as food. Poor sleep raises cortisol. Higher cortisol makes your liver release more glucose, encouraging your pancreas to produce even more insulin. One restless night can push your metabolism in the wrong direction before breakfast even begins. So protect your evening. Dim bright screens. Eat your last meal a few hours before bed when practical. Aim for 7 to 9 hours of consistent sleep. Why? Because that's when your hormonal environment becomes far more supportive of metabolic repair. None of these steps work because they're magical. They work because they're biological. Each choice sends the same quiet message to your cells. You're safe now. You don't have to stay in survival mode. That's how insulin sensitivity returns. Not overnight, but signal by signal, meal by meal, walk by walk, night by night. Your body isn't waiting for perfection. It's responding to patterns. Stack enough of the right signals together, and your cells begin trusting insulin again. What feels like tiny daily decisions eventually becomes a completely different metabolic future. And here's what most people completely miss. Insulin resistance is only one piece of the longevity puzzle. The next hidden process determines whether your cells simply survive or actually renew themselves. In the next episode, you'll discover the cellular cleanup system that Nobel Prize-winning science linked to healthier aging and why millions of people accidentally